Right, so first question we have is, what is your involvement in sport? So my involvement in sport on a job basis is looking after the School Sport Award. I also take part in sport out with my job. I'm very keen in tennis and cycling and running. My partner also works for Sport Scotland as well, and I have a daughter who's 8 years old, and she's very involved in sport as well. So as you can imagine, sport features very heavily in our lives, both at home and in work. Okay, so Grace is asking, who inspired you to get involved in sport? Probably my brothers got me involved in tennis. I've got two older brothers and they both played tennis. And then when I was old enough to understand, just how important sport was, I got them to take me down to the club. As I say, I had friends that were playing the sport as well. So, definitely having, peers and, classmates and friends that were involved in sport really inspired me to get involved in sport. So a very interesting question from Alfie. We've got, how is COVID affecting your involvement in sport? So COVID has had a massive impact, both in my job and also in my personal life as well. So my job has been completely altered at the moment. I am not going out to visit schools. I can't go out to visit schools. So at the moment, as I say, I'm working from home. I couldn't play tennis at the start of lockdown. I did start off doing some running at the start of the year, and recently we've probably spent more time on our bikes, to be honest. So it's probably not had a negative impact in terms of my personal involvement. I'm still able to go out there, I'm still able to do different sports. It's just not the same as what I'm used to. Okay, so Ebony is asking, do you need to be extremely talented to join a sports club? And the answer to that is no, you do not need to be extremely talented to join a sports club. You just have to have a desire to want to play, an enjoyment to want to play the sport. You don't need to be talented at all. And that's where school is really important in giving you an opportunity to try out all these different sports, to find a sport that you really do enjoy. You don't have to be good at it, you don't have to be talented at it. You can start in a sports club and, as I say, not know how to pick up a racket or a ball. It's just about having fun. It's not about being talented. You don't need to have the talent to be involved. Just go along and have fun. That's the main thing, and that's what the sports clubs are there for. It's just to give you more opportunities out with the school day, to have fun, to meet new people, to meet new friends, and that's what it's all about. Okay, next question from Katie. She's asking, how many hours and days a week do you do in your role? So my job is a full-time job. I work 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. And generally I'm working between sort of 7 and 8 hours a day. At the moment I'm working from home, and I have been since March. As most of you will be aware, that's happened to a lot of people. So I'm not getting out and about anywhere near as much as I used to. Part of my job would be going in to visit schools, meeting with your school teachers, your head teachers, after school coordinators. But unfortunately I'm not doing that at the moment. So what I am doing is working away at home, and I'm working on the School Sport Award at the moment, and I'm trying to make it better. I'm trying to put some new questions in, make it a bit easier for your teachers and the coordinators to get involved in the award. So hopefully when things go back to normality, we'll be relaunching the award, and I'm sure Glenboig Primary School will be one of the first schools to get involved in the new award. So the next question we have from Poppy, and her question is, how did you have the courage to go into a club? So if I think back to my first experience in a club, I would have been probably about your age, primary 7, when I had the courage to go into our local tennis club. And the reason that I had the courage to go into the club was quite a few of my friends were playing at the time, and I also had older brothers as well who were playing tennis too. So I think having, you know, people there that I knew gave me the courage to go into the club. I'd never played tennis before. I couldn't hit a ball. I'd never held a racket. So, you know, I was starting from the very beginning, but definitely having people there that I knew. And the club was really friendly as well. There was lots of children my age there, so it felt like a really good club to get involved in. So I think if you are looking to, you know, get into a club out with your school, then definitely see what your friends are up to, you know, see what your brothers or sisters or cousins or any other family members, what clubs they're involved in. And sometimes that can just be, you know, the little nudge that you need just to get involved in a club. Okay, so next question we have is from Calvin, and Calvin is asking, do you have a sporting idol? Yes, I do. I probably have several sporting idols that I grew up with. You may have to get out your history books to look up these people, because I can imagine that most of you won't know the names that I'm about to tell you. So yeah, in the early 90s, tennis was probably something that really inspired me, and I think a number of the tennis players that were around at that time I really looked up to and respected. So, you know, female tennis players like Monica Seles, Steffi Graf, Jennifer Capriati, Gabrielle Sabatini as well. You know, they were real icons for me. Another one at the time as well was a famous male tennis player called Andre Agassi, who came onto the scene and, you know, basically broke the mould for what tennis players should and were like at the time. He came from Las Vegas. He was, you know, flamboyant. He had huge hair. He wore really colourful outfits. And he was just somebody different that came into tennis at a time when, you know, I think he inspired quite a lot of young children to get involved in tennis. So yeah, they were the biggest icons growing up for me. Nowadays, you know, icons that I look up to, Bradley Wiggins is somebody that I have seen talk, you know, out with his cycling. My daughter's a huge swimmer, and she has an idol from Spain, Nuria Marquez, who is a Paralympian swimmer. We met her down in London last year, and she took the opportunity to speak to my daughter, and, you know, she's a real inspiration to Nuria. So, you know, I think, you know, you find somebody that, you know, maybe breaks that mould, and somebody that you can look up to. But yeah, as I say, those tennis players will stick with me for a long time, in terms of what they did and how they, you know, kept me going in sport, really. Okay, next question is from Lily, and she's asking, what age did you start your position and how did you get into it? Goodness. So I've been with Sport Scotland now for 10 years. I celebrated my 40th birthday a number of years ago, so if you're good at maths, you'll work out that I started my position in my 30s. And I got into, I was really lucky to get the job. I had gone to university when I left school, and I had studied law. I was wanting to become a lawyer, but yeah, very, very quickly into the course I discovered that probably it wasn't for me, and I did a variety of other jobs, and then I went travelling and I spent some time in New Zealand, and I came back and an opportunity to come up to work for Sport Scotland. My mum was a teacher, she's retired now, but you know, I was really enthusiastic to get involved in school sport, to get involved in something that could influence the young people. And when this opportunity came up to get involved in the School Sport Award, then, you know, of course, I jumped at the chance, and I've been doing this project now for 7 years, and I absolutely love it. I couldn't pick a better job. I couldn't pick you know, a better organisation to work for. So, you know, I've been really lucky to come into this job, and incredibly lucky with the people that I've met and the people that I work with. And lastly, how has being a female in sport impacted on your role? I think being a female in sport is central to my role here. I think having played sport in school, having been involved in sport both in school and in clubs as well, to do the school sport award and to be involved in the school sport award, having an understanding of what gets females involved in sport, what, you know, keeps females involved in sport, you know, having that understanding and that knowledge really does help in my role. We know that, you know, not all females will continue in sport in high school, and you know, I'm really passionate about females being involved in sport in high school. I just had such a good experience, and I was really lucky. But I had some really close friends that were involved in sport as well, so that really helped me. But just having that experience does help in my job, in my role, to really make sure that I'm inspiring more females and more girls to be involved in sport.